Welcome back to the Scoop College Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Hoop Scoop Media. We've been gone for quite a while. Did not really get a consistent podcast production going during last season. Just kind of got away from us a little. But are we back?
Think we're back. I think we're back for now.
Yeah, at least at the very least we're back for one episode. Though we do have a lot of stuff tentatively planned. So. We will see. We will see what happens with that. But yeah, today we're gonna go over our preseason top 25s. Is it still like in a way too early, or is this just like top 25? Because like I feel like it's not like way too early at this point.
Think I would call it like an early top 25. Like I wouldn't feel super confident in these 25 teams I have, but
Yeah.
I don't know, your rosters are 95 to 99% complete right now, so
Yeah, as
just
you mentioned, the rosters are essentially done. Definitely still some internationals floating around. And like Bryce Desserts guy who might go to Kansas, probably not going to Kansas, might end up at K-State. I don't know. I mean, we've seen Arkansas take some internationals in the past few days. Not great internationals, and actually did not impact my ranking in them at all. But yeah, they've been active. There might be still a few big international fish, but you never really know like when internationals are looking for a college necessarily. A lot of times it'll just like pop up out of nowhere. You don't really see a ton of interest lists for most of those guys. But speaking about the portal, it's basically done. Not any needle movers. I think Desmond Claude was the last one out there. Um,
yeah, I mean, I think a week ago when we tried to do this podcast, I think Desmond Claude wasn't committed yet, but now that he's kind of out of the portal, every big fish that we know is available is gone. I mean,
mhm.
as you mentioned, the internationals, it's just kind of coaches, agents, and then all of a sudden there's a new signing. But
Yes. Yes, but most of these rosters are like at least done. Like every high major team has at least 11 scholarship players. I know with the new house settlement, scholarships and non walk-ons might not even exist, but according to my roster sheet, which I don't like put guys who have been walk-ons and just like that. Every team has at least 12 or 11 guys. There's a few with 11. Don't think there's any high major team that still has 10. So, yeah, rosters are as set as they're going to be for the most part. So, shall we hop right into our top 25?
I think we should get rolling at this point.
Yeah, and number one, both have the Purdue Boilermakers. I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
it starts from the top where you have three of their best players back. Obviously, Braden Smith, and then Fletcher Lawyer and Trey Kaufman Wren. I mean, Smith and Kaufman Wren are probably both first preseason first team All Americans for sure. Preseason All Americans, but I mean, you start there, and I think there's a lot of reason to buy into this team as number one. I like the front court additions, Oscar Clough and then Daniel Jacobson coming back. Like
Yes.
I'm counting that as an addition, basically, barely played
Yeah, played
last
one
year.
game, got hurt the second.
So as long as those two can help kind of shore up the interior, protect the rim, which was the downfall of Purdue last
Hmm.
season, I think that's where this team can really make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit it on the head there. Like Purdue, obviously, it was a great team last year. Won a few games in the tournament, had a pretty solid regular season, 21 wins, but they're not necessarily just going number one because they have like Trey Kaufman and Braden Smith returning, even though those are huge, but they really addressed their issues through the portal and through getting Jacobson back from injury. Like they were a really bad defensive team when it came to the paint last year. No rim protection, a big body like Clough, albeit he did it in the Summit League, but I think he'll still be at least, I mean, he's been a proven high major starter and really broke out as a star himself when he was kind of leading a team. So really like that. I guess yeah, they filled the holes. Defense should be much better, but they also I really like it all around. I think CJ Cox will see a big season from him. Jakari Harris should improve. Obviously, Fletcher Loyer. Heard some really good things about Omar Meyer, the Israeli, I believe, freshman that they added. Would be a real impact maker, but we'll see how much he even plays with Braden Smith controlling the team. Um, Liam Murphy, I think, is a solid offensive piece. He can come in and stretch the floor, make a lot of threes. So there's a lot to be excited about. We know what Matt Painter is as a coach, so I expect his team to be very good this year.
Yeah, Painter's one of the best in the business, obviously. And then the guys you mentioned coming back, Cox and Harris, I think those two having a sophomore breakout can really
Mm.
help or should be the reason this team is the number one preseason. But we saw last year Miles Colvin, Camden Heide, they never really made that jump that people thought they were going to make, and that's kind of why Purdue maybe didn't live up to those expectations. But I'm confident Cox and Harris can
hmm
step up.
I really do like Cox. Harris is like iffy, and you're just kind of banking on him because he's been in the system, showed some flashes. But I am fairly in on at least Cox to be big this year. But going number two, just to spoil it here, we both have another wonderfully coached team, maybe the highest floor team every year in college basketball, and that is the Houston Cougars, led by Kelvin Sampson. It honestly doesn't really matter who they have in a team. They're going to be like third in Ken Palm and kill you defensively, but they have a pretty good roster themselves.
Yeah, I mean the team that knocked Purdue out in the tournament this season, and you said the Ken Palm rank inside the top three. I mean, the last four seasons they've finished second at Ken Palm, so I mean, placing them second in the preseason is probably the way to go if you're me and you. But Milo Suzan coming back just a few weeks ago announced that right ahead of the draft
hmm
deadline. But that's a really big
And
piece
then they
there.
lost Pop Isaacs right after that, which who knows? Some could see that as addition by subtraction, but
If you're having one or the other, I'm going Uzan. But
oh, 100%, 100%. But yeah, I mean, Kelvin is really starting to recruit to a very high level. Got a few five stars coming in. Um, Chris Cenac, Isaiah Harwell, Kingston Flemings, Harwell, and Cenac should start, or at least I have them pencils in my lineup. But yeah, you got JoJo Tugler, best like defensive big, like he just does stuff. Not a huge guy in box score, but maybe the best defender in the country. And then yeah, got a real shot maker and Emmanuel Sharp on the wing. And I like some of the bench pieces too. Like Khalifa Sacco is like the Houston big as like a
yeah,
transfer
fits the mold
bringing.
perfectly after you lost Francis and Roberts um, to graduation this past season. So
hmm
hopefully he can help kind of fill the void. And then just a couple of guys back, Mercy Miller, Cedric Lath,
Yes.
Ron Walker Jr. I mean, those guys are going to fill the minutes off the bench, and
hmm
maybe one or two of them really steps up if the freshmen are slow out of the gates.
Yeah, also got Chase McCarty and Jacob McFarland. Few redshirt freshman bigs. I think McFarland's been like hurt like 2 years in a row, but either way, very good team. They're gonna be tenacious on defense, and they are also probably gonna get done in offense due to some of the pieces they have. Yeah, I mean they're just. I mean,
Yeah,
Kelvin Sampson is just an extremely high floor guy due to the defense.
and you saw Uzan kind of get going as Big 12 play heated up last year, and I think there's even room for him to be better offensively, and he's obviously a solid lead defensive guard as well.
Yes. So who do you have at number three then?
Three is where I kind of take a swing, and it's a team I took a swing on last year. Texas Tech, coached by Grant McCasland, nearly got that preseason Final Four prediction right last year. Unfortunately, choked the game away against Florida in the Elite Eight. But I mean, you bring JT Toppin back, could be the preseason National Player of the Year. I don't think anybody would severely argue that. But 18-9 last season, and then another key piece brought back. Really, the only other guy that played, Christian Anderson, um,
Hmm.
stood out as a freshman last year, and really the minutes started ticking up as the season winded down. And I think he's primed for a breakout, really, to lead that
Yes.
backcourt.
Yes, I do have the Red Raiders at ninth. A little concerned with the depth. I know they are supposed to maybe predicted to add Australian guard Ben Henshaw, who recently withdrew his name from NBA draft. I think that would be a significant needle mover in my eyes. Really gives them some depth. I think they're also predicted to get what's his name, Jalen Petty, who decommitted from Stanford. Just would be some nice guard depth in general. But yeah. Right now I have them ninth due to a lack of depth. Really like the starters. I think. Lawan Watts is about as of a replacement as Darian Williams, about as close as you can get there. Tyree Bryan, great glue piece. Donovan Atwell, very solid shooter. I really do like Luke Bamboy coming in from VCU. I think there's definitely, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do it, but I think there's definitely a world where he starts at least some of the season and have Toppin at a four. Yeah, elite rim protector coming over from VCU as a freshman. But yeah, a little concerned about the depth if and when they continue adding guys to the roster. Sounds like Henshaw might have some trouble getting in, but if that clears
Yeah,
itself up, I will move them up a few notches for sure.
yeah. Jim Roots, his roster has Henshaw written in, but it's got kind of the pencil marks to it needs to get cleared. So we'll wait and see there. But I think you talked about Watts being a replacement for Darian Williams, and I absolutely see it. I was going through the film earlier today just to like kind of reassure myself that I wanted to put Texas Tech three, and I really think he can fit that mold. 13.7 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, almost 4.5 assists last year for Washington State. And I like Atwell. I like Brian on the wings coming in from
Yeah.
UNCG and Santa Clara. I think they can really help space the floor. And then you've got obviously the dynamite at point guard with Christian Anderson and a
Yes.
go-to guy with JT Toppin. I think it can all come together. And once again, Grant McCasland, I think maybe the most underrated coach in all of college basketball. I think he'll continue to prove that year in and year out until he gets that respect.
Yes. And number three, myself, though, I have Florida, who I'm pretty sure they're like a consensus-ish top three, but I know you're a little lower on them.
Yeah, I mean, I can let you kind of talk over your praise for Florida, but I do have them 13th. There's the question marks, and I know every offseason the defending national champion's always going to get a little extra hype. If you take a look back at UConn last year, but
Yes, I mean there are definitely some question marks replacing Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin with Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland, who are probably pretty good players, but there are definitely some question marks to be had about them. Um, the real reason I had him this high though was just today they returned Thomas Ha and Alex Condon. Like those two are just so impactful. They do everything on the court. Like in terms of just like net positivity, they could be like the two best players in the country if you're just gonna want to go from that. Obviously Todd Golden, phenomenal coach, great evaluator, great developer. Usually gets the most out of his guys, so that's why I'm a little higher on Lee and Flan than most people. I mean, I've always been a huge Xavier Lee guy. I mean, I had him. I've I might have been like the first like real hyper of him, but um, definitely some questions to be had. How does he translate to the SEC? He really good assist turnover ratio, good shot creating, but we'll see. Some same issues with Boogie Fland. How will the defense look? How will the offense run? But due to Golden being there, not super concerned. You got very productive bigs back too, and Chinyelu and Hanglockton. CJ Ingram should be ready to play some minutes to three right away. You got AJ Brown, solid Will Richard esque player. Um, And yeah, I just think I don't really want to bet against Todd Golden at this point. I think there's enough returners to feel pretty good about them.
Yeah, I agree. The front court, I mean, that's one of, if not the best in the country right there with how Condon, Chinny Lou, and Handlock's in. But it's the backcourt that worries me. Obviously, last year,
Yeah.
Walter Clayton Jr., Will Richard, Elijah Martin, all three are gone. Richard and Martin really provided things on both ends. And then you had Walter Clayton Jr. just taking games over again and again in March. And I mean, if he doesn't go nuclear at the end of that UConn game, I mean, there's no hype to be had with this roster. I feel like if they were to have
Mm.
gone out
I
in
mean,
the
there's
second
still like
round,
a there's
obviously
still a
there's
one
still Condon,
seed.
but yeah, I think AJ Brown and CJ Ingram are the two guys where they kind of need to play quite a bit at the three. I don't know how Golden's gonna run it out.
I mean, I know Howe
If
is going to
Hauk
start at the
starts,
three. He's going to
okay,
like that's been like confirmed.
yeah. But
So yeah,
defensively, you lose Martin and Richard in the backcourt, and now Lee and Fland don't really provide anything there. Lee shot 44% from the field in the Ivy League. Fland was 38% in the SEC. I don't know. They neither can really finish at the rim, so I'm somewhat worried there. Just I don't know. You lose three of the best guards in the country at what they did last year for the Gators.
yes, that would definitely be the concern. Um, who do you have at number four though?
Four, I went with St. John's. Rick Pitino's
Ooh,
got the
I,
Red Storm rolling again. I mean, I won't spoil where you have him, I guess, but unless you want to jump in.
yes. Let me pull it up. I believe I have him at okay. I think I have him at 17. Um, I don't like him that much. I just kind of trusted Patino enough to put him at 17. Like that's kind of where I'm at with him.
I mean, you bring back Zuby,
Yes,
14 and a half
he's
points,
great. He's
eight
great, but
rebounds a
are
game.
their transfers that good? Ian Jackson was bad at
I
North Carolina.
I buy Ian Jackson. I'm not gonna
He
lie. I
wasn't good
mean,
as a freshman.
North Carolina isn't exactly what they wanted to be last season, but I don't know. I trust Jackson under Patino. And then you've got Osiah Sellers, you've got Sannon, you've got Darling. I think that there's a lot of scoring in that backcourt. Maybe the the creation might not be there for the creation for others might not be there in that
I
backcourt.
mean, not if they're
But
starting Jackson at the point.
I buy enough with what Patino showed last year, and then you've got Dylan Mitchell, Bryce Hopkins coming in to kind of shore up that front line. Hopkins, obviously an ultimate question mark, played 3 games last year, but ultra productive in the Big East the year prior. So
Yes. We will see. I definitely don't love the fit. I just kind of love Patino. I don't know. We will see. A lot of question marks with the players, but I guess I trust him to make it work. I do like Dylan Mitchell. I think he's like really just ultra productive. Not a huge Hopkins guy. Hasn't been healthy in a few years. Sandins, we'll see. A lot of those guys are interesting off the court. We will see. We will see. I don't have a clue what's gonna happen with that, but
yeah, I mean, I yeah, if you're questionable on Jackson, you're questionable on that point guard spot. Like I can see 17. I mean, I'm probably near the high end. You're probably near the low end, but yeah, I can see St. John's anywhere in there.
number four though, I have Pat Kelsey and the Louisville Cardinals. I can't find many holes in this roster.
I
Like, can you find
overall, I
any?
mean, the
Like,
backcourt is
they are loaded
definitely where it's
everywhere.
at. I need to do my due my due research on the front court. I haven't seen too much of Sananda Fru, the German big
I
that they
I
brought
I
in,
think he's
but
going to be really good. But they
I
also
mean
got
that
Vangelis
would be my big
Zugris,
question mark.
Greek big. Really watch some highlights on him. Really likes like push floaters, but he's like super efficient on them, which is a little interesting.
Like the Isaiah Hartenstein type of build.
I guess he's yeah. Um, Also, I'm assuming Ali Khalifa will end up getting eligible, but even if he's not, I
That
think they're in a fine
yeah,
position.
that's definitely a weird one, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I
Yeah.
don't know if he's currently projected back or should be projected back right now. I guess I don't know.
I think people feel generally pretty good about it, but I mean, the backcourt guards they got in the portal are people I'm very high on. Ryan Conwell, I think he's a stud, as is Adrian Woolley. They just can really score the ball, can create offense for themselves and others. Isaac McNeely can really knock down shots from deep. And then Mikal Brown Jr., top 10 recruit in the class. And even if he like fails, they just put Woolley there, which I'm not necessarily betting on him to fail because I know a lot of people really like him. Kashawn Pryor coming back, Javon Hadley coming back. Kanai Roos, maybe you see some improvement out of him. Kobe Rogers coming off injury. I mean, I just liked him. I mean, they don't have like a ton of players, but I think they're just deep enough. Like they kind of have all the bases covered. They had a very good year one, 18-2 in a admittedly horrible conference, but I I think
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
going to be at the next level this year.
I've got Louisville at 10. Kind of something I guess I didn't really mention at the start, kind of when we were going through things, but there's no like clear cut at the top. I feel like we each have
Yeah,
Purdue and
I got
Houston
to.
1 and 2, but you go 3 to 15. Really, I think you're
Mhm.
splitting hairs.
Yeah, I didn't know I would have Louisville at fourth, but I like looked around and I'm like, who else do I put here? Yeah, I was kind
Yeah,
of confused, but yeah, I guess there's no fifth years. Maybe it's a little weaker because of that. Um,
yeah. I do think overall the talent pool is just there's less to pick from in the portal and even returning. But overall, that backcourt, as you mentioned, it should be one of the best in the country. I do also really like the trio of guards they brought in. McNeely was ultra productive, ultra efficient on a bad
mhm.
Virginia team, and I think
I mean, he can just shoot it. Like,
he can really be helped out in this system. Yeah, 100%. They
mhm.
shot so many threes last year, and
Yeah, I
you
mean,
get
like,
a sniper like him,
mhm.
good things will
Like I
happen, I
think he
think.
can do a little bit more offensively than Rain Smith, but I think like that's kind of a role they could utilize him when he's just out there to just fire away from deep, which he did on the Virginia team, and Virginia's not exactly the most exciting offense. So if he could do that there, I think in a team that just produced Rain Smith, I think
Yeah, I mean
can be
that's
knocked
another
right
thing.
down.
I mean, Pat Kelsey knows what he likes. All three of those guys over
Oh, perfect
five attempts
fits.
from three a game. So
Mm-hmm. Yes. Going to number five though, who do you have there?
I went my third team out of the Big 12. I went with BYU. Kind of had become the
Okay.
darling of the offseason. I've
I'm
seen them as high as third, but
Yeah,
yeah, there's
I have them at 13, but
okay.
I'm
Yeah, I
just not
mean,
in on the defense. This was how kind of how they were last year. Like they were elite offensively. Um, didn't see much of a drop off there from Mark Pope to Kevin Young and just how the offense runs. They just were ultra efficient. They just made shots, but they couldn't defend, and that's what held them back. And I think the personnel isn't really set up to be great defenders this year either. Like
yeah,
maybe the front court is good, but I really don't like the backcourt defense on this team.
I mean, I see the holes you're poking in the roster for sure. I mean, we know what happened in the Sweet 16, obviously against Alabama, 24 threes made, I think it was, for the Crimson Tide. But
Yeah, I
I
mean
think the
that was also
offensive
an
stealing,
outlier, but still, like
yeah,
the 3
the,
point defense was bad all year. Like Alabama just if I mean if they had won their nights like they did, they were unbeatable, which um
I, I mean, the offensive ceiling of this team is insanely high, though, in
oh,
my
for
eyes,
sure, for
with
sure.
Robert Wright, and then I mean,
I think
the
he's a
big
little
three is what
overrated,
it's been
but
called with AJ Devanza and Richie Saunders.
yes.
So
I mean, no, I love their offense. They could, for all I'm concerned, they could have the best offense in the country, but not super enthused about the defense. Wright was a pretty subpar defender, to be honest, in his time at Baylor. Richie Saunders not a great defender. Kennard Davis, he profiles like a decent defender, but the numbers weren't great analytically, at least at SIU. Defense should be fine. Kato's really good defender, but I just don't love it overall. The the depth is, I guess they had some interesting pieces. Their guys they play should be fine, but I don't know. I definitely think they're getting a little overrated by the media.
yeah, I mean, I do like Cato returning inside. I think he can somewhat shore up that interior, and maybe even if you've
I mean
got
he's great. He's
some,
great.
yeah, even if you've got some questions in the backcourt with Ken Wright defend, which I do think is a fair point, but
I
I don't
mean
know.
he
I bought
didn't.
into the offense, and Young um proved
Yeah.
to be a great offensive mind in year one. So
Oh, can't argue that. Number five though is where I have Duke. Um, coming back out of the Cooper Flag era into the Boozers era. Um, and I think the Boozers are going to be elite in year one, especially Cameron Boozer. I mean, he's not going to be Cooper Flag, but I don't know that he's going to be that much far off. Like, I think I'm definitely going to have him picked as an All American, just ultra productive, ultra, yeah, just he's a guy that's really just going to get it done, can score from inside and out. Really already had that college body for a while, and then I think Caden Boozer's probably going to end up being the starting point guard unless Caleb Foster randomly like actually gets good this year. Um, and he was another guy that has been at least very productive at the high school level. Really, both of them have elite feels for the game. Definitely some question marks with the other guys. As say Evans, will he break out? Patrick Ngongba, I do think he will break out, like for sure. Evans is somewhat of a wild card, but I mean, with the Boozers, I'm in on Ngongba. Malik Brown's a great backup big, and then I don't know. I'm pretty in on Shire, um, honestly.
yeah, I mean, people will poke the holes in the big games for Shire, or the late game slip ups, as you kind of saw this season. But I do think overall he's proven that he's the rightful successor for Coach K through the first 4 years, I believe it's been,
Yes,
maybe
this is
three.
going to be year four, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I
But
think.
yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Boozers. I do think Boozer is another one. Cameron Boozer is another one of those guys. Like he does a little bit of everything. He makes the
Mm.
winning plays. Like just a winning player overall, kind of like Flag was.
Yeah, like he has an extremely high floor for a freshman.
Yeah, and then it just comes down to how productive the sophomore class is, and you could throw
Hmm.
Caleb Foster into that mix as well.
Even throwing incoming freshman Dame Sar coming
Yes,
in.
Sar as well. But yeah, I went Duke 7, so kind of right
Yeah.
on that same page as you.
Yes. Who do you have at six then?
Sixth, I went with Kentucky out of the
Okay.
SEC. Otega Owe coming back, I think that was obviously a crucial piece to bring back, but I think that's what kind of can put this all together. Jalen Lowe, I don't know. I'm overall confused by Lowe. I thought he was the perfect candidate to break out this past year, and
Yeah, he
the
kind of got
numbers were there, but
worse.
just the efficiency was completely tanked last year at Pitt, and Pitt kind of fell off the face of the earth after November. So that's
Yes.
that's an interesting look in the backcourt. And then you add in Denzel Aberdeen, a important piece off the bench last year for Florida.
I'm kind of underwhelmed by
He's gonna
Kentucky's
make up that
transfers.
trio, but
Like,
it,
like I have them 11. Like, I think it's a pretty good team, but like, I mean, we've all seen the reports on like that they have just like by far the most money in the country, and you're getting like Denzel Aberdeen to be your starting two.
yeah, I mean,
Like
Cam
he's
Williams
good,
is
but
like
like
the
he's
guy
not
who was rumored to
that
get
great.
$1 million. So
Yeah, like the transfer class, like Jaden Caintons is a stud, but like who knows what his health is going to be like. If the ACL normal timeline predicts, he should be back by December, but I've seen people saying he's going to be back by like September, so don't know what's going on there. Low, I could see being really good in a good offensive system. You got Owe back. Overall, though, little disappointed with the roster. I don't think defense is going to be great, but the Pope offense it will be very good on that end for sure. Just think it's a little underwhelming, considering the supposed resources at hand.
yeah, I mean, and part of that kind of goes into the probable overpays for Aberdeen and Cam Williams. But I think if Quaintance is healthy for most of the year, like just projects out to be what he is, I think that's
Yeah,
why I lean towards having them sixth because he can really elevate what the rest of his team is. And then you've got Garrison and Diabate from Alabama also in the front court. I think that
yeah. I
that
don't
makes up a
love
solid front
Garrison,
line.
but yeah,
I think he fills the role that he'll have
yeah. He had
once
some
again
like
this year.
low key like really bad rim defense numbers, which is like maybe I'm looking into it too much, but the percentages it was like opponent shot like 70% of the rim when he was in the game. Anyway, though, at number six, I have Michigan. Big winner to NBA draft, getting the actual Lenneborg out of the process, which was really a big decision that a lot of people didn't think would happen. I think he's just an absolute stud in all areas of the game. Can really just fill up the stat sheet. Did everything at UAB. Gets it done on both ends. Elite defender. Can pass. Can score. And then him playing next to Morez Johnson, who is just a dominant big man. Really crashes a glass and gets physical. I think that's a perfect pairing. I think Elliot Cadeau will have a pretty significant jump with the significant coach upgrade, and then got some solid wings too. Burnett, Roddy Gale, L.J. Kaysen. Definitely see a breakout out of him. Trey McKinney, incoming freshman. A lot to like about this team in year two for Dusty May.
Yeah, Kaysen's a freshman I kind of liked last year. I do hope
Mm-hmm.
he has a slightly bigger role this year. The Cadeau,
Yes.
I see where you're buying in the new coach, a better coach, obviously Dusty May, but I don't know. I mean, that's where you're poking holes with Jackson. I'm that way with Cadeau. Like
Okay,
I don't
Jackson was
know.
just like bad though. Cadeau is, I mean, Cadeau could at least pass it.
Yeah, and I'm not in on Cadeau, but I will say that
I
front
didn't
court
like
looks to
him
be
last year, but
yeah, the front court looks to be really fun again, obviously with Lendeborg, Morez Johnson, and then we'll see how Adimara factors in as well.
yes,
Seven
very
7'3" big
efficient.
man from UCLA. So I, I Roddy Gale, meh. And Amari Burnett, I
Yeah.
think does what he needs to do night in, night out. I like Burnett overall, but yeah, Gale and Kiddo, that's where I'm hesitant on Michigan.
Yeah.
I had the Wolverines 12th. So
Okay.
again, not like totally far off, but just a little lower than many Michigan fans seem to think. So
Yes. So then let's see. Did you have someone at seven that we've already talked about? Did you have,
I had Duke at 7.
yes.
So
So I have a new team at seven. I have Gonzaga, the Bulldogs. Um, lost some significant players, lost Cleef Battle, Ryan Nemhard, Nolan Hickman, but I mean, I really like how they're positioned. going in this year. We're playing some really good basketball at the end of the year, and you do have lose Nemhard, obviously, probably the best pure point guards in terms of like setting up the offense, distributing it. You could say in college basketball last year. Really interested to see what Braden Smith, the Colgate Braden Smith, now the Gonzaga Braden Smith, looks like. He's already had a year in offense, year in the system. Was really productive his last year at Colgate, winning Patriot League Player of the Year, and yeah, I think a lot of it is going to hinge on him, but I'm a little more confident than if he would have just came in from Colgate, already knowing the ins and outs of the system. Front court is elite with Graham Ike and Braden Huff. They haven't played a lot together in recent years, but I think that's probably going to be what they do. Um, Ty and Grant Foster, I guess. I think you should be eligible. I know there might have to get a waiver or something, but yeah, I mean, offense is going to be good. I think they improved the defense a little bit. Jalen Worley, Emmanuel Innocenti, um, probably some more minutes this year out of Ismailia Diagne. Um, and then they have Adam Miller, should be good.
Is Steel Venters
Nah,
at this
I'm
point
already
healthy to
assuming
play?
he's gonna like tear his ACL again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get a healthy season, but that would be nice for sure. And
Yeah,
obviously,
coming off of a torn Achilles with the ACL in 2023, so
not looking great, but we'll see. I mean, he was very impactful the last time he played, which was like 3 years ago. But I think Mario Saint Superi, I don't know if he's official yet, but the Spanish guard I think will be pretty good as well. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a great offensive team. I think they've improved a little bit defensively. We'll see. We'll see how point guard goes, but I'm pretty in on this Gonzaga roster
yeah,
for
I
now.
I went Gonzaga 17. Obviously weren't what they wanted to be for most of the year last year. Ended up kind of turning things around, and then ultimately just coming up just short against Houston in the round of 32. But if Braden Smith can somewhat fill the Ryan Nemhard role, I don't think he's Ryan Nemhard, but I think that's kind of what I see him evolving into.
Hmm.
I like the wing additions of Grant Foster and Jalen Worley. I do think that adds
We'll
athleticism,
see
it
with
adds
Worley. I do
defense.
like again that Worley's been in the system. I think that's
Yeah.
that's pretty
And then
significant.
obviously you bring back Huff and Ike as well, two double digit guys. Ike
Yes.
probably the favorite for WCC player of the year heading into this year. I can't recall who won it last season, but
Marshall Owens won the last two, and you could say that EK should
okay,
have won it
he did
the
win this
last two
past season
years.
too.
You could
Yeah.
say that EK should have won in the last 2 years.
A-
And he,
And then
so
Adam Miller's like the ultimate wild card, I feel like,
I
also
think
filling
he's
in
gonna
his
be good
backcourt.
under feel. Like he can shoot it decently. He's been playing for Bobby Hurley, definitely in a little bit more defined offensive system now. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, Miller and Worley are like two guys who have been around the block, like guys I didn't really see like ending up back on Zaga with Mark Few, but I mean,
yes,
I can see things working under Few if
mm-hmm,
this roster kind of comes together.
yes, for sure. But and who do you have at 8?
8, I've got UConn.
Okay, I have him at 12. So
The the lull last year, obviously after back-to-back national championships, but I think Solomon Ball's due for a big season as a junior. 14 points a game last year, 41% from three. Caravan probably in a more like comfortable role now. I think there was way too much pressure weight on his shoulders last year. I don't think he was ever really going to be that guy.
no, that's
And
just not who
then
he is.
you bring back Terrace Reed, Jalen Stewart, Jaden Ross to kind of fill out the rotation, and then the impact transfers in the backcourt: Malachi Smith from Dayton, Silas Demery Jr. from Georgia, and then Braylon Mullins, top
Mhm.
15 recruit. I really think Demery's the big piece here. He can combine
Yeah,
with Ball, and then Caravan's probably option number three, and you've got two dynamic players in the backcourt.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's just the defense again. That's kind of really what held them back this year. Very, very, very good offensive team still, but Demery is like a plus defender, but I feel like DR was like the best defender on the team, so we'll see how it works replacing him. I do definitely see a bounce back here for Danny Early and the Huskies. We'll see if like guys like Solo Ball can develop as a defender because he could not defend anything last year. We will see though. Terrace Reed, a guy that really has to stay out of foul trouble this year. And then we'll see how the freshmen do. Braylon Mullins, really highly regarded guy. Eric Reeby, should be a. We'll see how he is backing up Reed, but yeah, a lot to like. A lot of good talent here. Don't really think Hurley's gonna have two bad years in a row. And yeah, just got to get a defense back up to serviceable, and the offense will be very good.
Yeah, I do think Reeby's a guy that could kind of shore up that interior and help the defense a little. We'll see how much he ends
Yes,
up playing
I
as a
mean Reed is a
freshman, but
great defender. He just hacks.
yeah, I
Um,
mean,
yeah,
Reeby will likely have to play a handful of
I
minutes
mean
every night
yeah, if
if
Reed
if
keeps
Reed's got
fouling.
two, three fouls at half.
Yes, don't really have any other centers. Maybe they can play like Dwayne Caroma, who was actually kind of like from Lemoyne, but I don't think he will get any significant minutes at least. Besides the point, though, number 8 is where I have Auburn Tigers, led by Bruce Pearl. No longer Janai Broom in the fold, but I still generally like their team. Getting Todd Pettiford back at the deadline was huge. They do have a lot of question marks. I mean, I think they have a lot of question marks. Like most of their guys are question marks, you could say. But I kind of trust Bruce Pearl. It's kind of an area where unsure about some of these guys. Going to trust in Pearl, Keyshawn Hall, really good player, but we'll see how he fits, how impactful he is to winning and stuff. Maybe, yeah. We'll see. We'll see
Yeah,
about Keyshawn Murphy. I know a lot of people really like him. I don't know how good he's gonna be, but yeah. Um, Philip
I've got
Jovic,
Auburn.
another guy they got in.
I've got Auburn just like a tad lower, I guess, at 15.
Okay.
And Murphy, yeah, you mentioned solid, proven SEC big. Probably isn't anything more than that, I feel like. Like the numbers are there, but I don't know if the production will be
We'll
there with
see.
a better team. Obviously, Pettiford back, really like him. Overton is probably the second starter in that backcourt. A
Yeah,
solid
I
player at Texas
guess I'm
Tech,
not
nothing more.
enthused by that, but he's fine.
But I do think these forward spots are where it's gonna make or break. Elijah Freeman
Mm-hmm.
from Lincoln Memorial D2 school.
D2
I really
product.
like what I've seen at tape.
Mm-hmm.
19 points a game, 9 rebounds a game as a freshman. And then obviously Keyshawn Hall next to him. A very interesting dynamic there. And if those two both click together, then I can see eighth or even higher for Auburn. But
Yes.
right now I've got 15.
Then they got Jovic, the Serbian, I assume, forward. Should be pretty good. I guess we'll see. Little questionable about some of these bench pieces. We'll see how Abdul Bashir does. Put up some big time scoring numbers at JUCO. Got another JUCO guy, Emeka Operum, should be a backup. Should be their main backup big man, I guess. We'll see if the freshmen do anything. Definitely a lot more question marks than I would have had about Auburn's roster last year, but I mean, they have the pieces, I think. Just we'll see how they mesh, how they play together. But I think it should be a pretty good team on both sides of the ball. Um, Number 9 is where I had Texas
I
Tech.
had UCLA at 9.
Okay, have the Bruins at 14th.
I've got Donovan Dent coming in, kind of changing the whole outlook of this UCLA team back to when they had a good point guard in Tiger Campbell. I feel like the last 2 years
Yeah.
didn't really have a game changer there.
Yes.
And obviously that's what Dent is, 20 points a
Yes.
game, six
So
assists a
I
game
will
at New
say,
Mexico.
I do love Dent. Mick Cronin's not necessarily a guy that's ever played fast in his coaching tenure. Dent's a guy that thrives in transition, gets out, gets on a break, scores in transition, gets the offense going fast. New Mexico played very fast. I'm a little concerned about it. I think Dent's great, but that's not really his bread and butter. There's nothing that would indicate Mick Cronin will speed it up for him just based on all of his recent tempos. Like, I don't know. I do
I,
still think they're going to be pretty good, but I am very, very concerned, questionable, interested to see where that goes.
yeah, I'll bite back on that point, I guess. Obviously, as you mentioned, the tempo outside the top 300 last year, but the defense is always pretty good. Last year, the turnover percentage
Hmm.
was top 5 in the country. I mean, you force that many turnovers, I think if you get the ball in Dent's hands, the tempo will go up from there. Maybe not significantly, but I can still see him breaking open the game a couple different times as we saw he
Yeah,
did for New Mexico.
yeah. I think the other X factor here is Xavier Booker. I don't know. I mean, he was like a top five prospect in high school, never really did much, or really, I mean, he showed like the potential flashes, but never really showed. I don't know. I feel like he didn't show that much, but like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, he didn't really show much at all, honestly. But like, I feel like he still has like skills. Could be a rim protector.
Yeah, I
Shot a
mean
lot of
the
threes.
front
Didn't really
court,
make many threes though. I don't
the
know.
front court with Daly and Bilodeau ahead of him. I do think those two can take up most of the minutes, but
Yes,
but
but I
Booker,
have them all starting.
yeah, Daly, Bilodeau, and Booker.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it depends if you
I
lean
feel like
three
that's
four
what the
three fours versus
consensus
three guards.
kind of
I
coming
could
out
see
at. But like, who'd you
I could
start
see
at guard
Jamar
at?
Brown. Jamar Brown is the three, but
I guess. But
I
I feel like people have been saying that Booker's gonna start. I don't know
I
what's actually
mean
gonna happen.
I guess it makes sense if I was higher on them and didn't have Booker having to impact the game as much, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I guess we'll see though. If he's not good, Cronin probably just won't play him. But yeah, I mean, still have them 14th. Really like this starting returners: Sky Clark, Eric Daly, Tyler Bill, Donovan Dent, one of the best point guards in the country. Still think Cronin's a good coach. He'll probably at least be good defensively. We'll get a lot of his guys and should have the pieces to run a pretty good offense. Definitely had, I mean, they had Dylan Andrews and Sebastian Mack running the point guard. Dent is a big upgrade from both of those guys. So,
yeah, 100%.
um,
Who'd you have at 9?
number nine, that is where I had Texas Tech.
Okay. And then 10 for me was Louisville.
Okay. Number 10 is where I have Iowa State. I mean, got some two pretty elite returners in Joshua Jefferson and Taman Lipsey. Milan Momcilovic, good wing forward returning. Um, and then yeah, another thing where I'm just kind of going in with the coach, TJ Otzelberger, just really gets the best out of his guys. Another team that's going to be phenomenal in defense and have a pretty high floor because of that. And a transfer class definitely doesn't won't show up on any top leaderboards, but I feel like he really just gets the most out of guys, makes some just makes guys end up becoming good, I guess, even though might not be super flashy pickups. We'll see what they do. Um, we'll kind of see what they do if they start Nate Heisey. Got a lot of options, but I'm just kind of trusting it's
Yeah, I imagine Heisey will start in between Lipsy and Momcilovic, and then Joshua Jefferson alongside probably Blake Buchanan from Virginia. I think the front court guys will do their job. We've seen Otzelberger kind of do that back to back years, just have productive bigs. They don't really need to be these big scorers or anything. Obviously, Jefferson's kind of the focal point in the front court there, and the offense somewhat runs through him. But where I fall back on Iowa State, I've got them 16. Where I fall back is the scoring, the shot creation from the guards. Lipsy, not sure if he really has that at all in his game. Heisey, we have yet to see that at the power conference level. And then you obviously lost Curtis Jones, Keshawn Gilbert. So Ken Mason Williams and Dominic Nelson step up to the plate there. I'm not sure. Weren't ultra efficient from three at
Yeah.
the mid-major level. So that's where I pull back on the Cyclones. But obviously a well-coached team, lots of consistency. Still have them well inside the top 20.
Yes. Yeah, we'll see. Just kind of trust odds to get the most out of these guys. Play lead defensively. Then I guess I've already talked about our next four teams. I have Kentucky 11, UConn 12, BYU 13, UCLA 14.
All right, so I've got my 11th team up. 12th I had Michigan, 13th I had Florida, but we can go over my number 11, which is Illinois,
Okay, I have them
and
16.
the Eastern European flavor kind of coming in
The
to this
Ix.
lineup. I really like how it's come together for
Mm-hmm.
Brad Underwood. Mihajlo Petrovic, I like what I've seen on tape from him. Already 22 and played pretty solid in the top Yugoslavian league. Kylan Boswell back. Pros and cons to Boswell's game,
Yeah.
but bringing in Andrei Stojakovic is really where I think this team sees a boost. 18 points a game last year for Cal. Not terribly
Yes.
efficient, but I think that was more because he had to take so many shots for that Cal team.
Yes. Yeah. He's a guy that can really just score the ball, and I think he's in probably a little bit better system to score. Yeah. I mean, he was playing some really good basketball last season. Did get hurt a few times, which or got hurt, missed some games, which kind of slowed his overall production get down. But he had a few stretches of the year where he was just scoring a lot of points day in and day out. And yeah, and I think he's going to be much improved, or at least be able to make more of a national impact. And Illinois, got both the Ivasic is obviously Tomislav, really productive player in his first year at Illinois. Bigsy a little bit of a wild card, but definitely has his moments. Got Ben Humerkaus back, Ty Rogers back from a red shirt, and yeah, this team should be fun. I'm excited to watch all the Europeans.
Yeah, I hope Homerkaus has that like second year
I
transfer
think he will. He'll
jump
shoot
for
it
his
better than
team.
he did last year.
Yeah, I do think he will. He's a better shooter than the 34% he hit last season. And then Tomislav Ivasic should be one of the best bigs in the Big Ten this season. I think it all
Mhm.
comes together pretty well for Underwood. And he's a guy over the last 5 years I've trusted more and more and more. And I think there's
Yes.
no reason to not have this team top 20, top 15. I mean, I've got him 11. I'm on the higher end, but
Mm-hmm. Yes.
where'd you have Illinois?
Then I had him at 16.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I already.
So, yeah, I took care of my 12 and 13 with Michigan and Florida. 14 for me is Alabama.
Okay, I have him at 25. I'm not super in this Alabama team.
There's the holes to poke in the front court. I'm bought in on the backcourt though. Phylon returning the surprise of the draft deadline or the draft
Yes.
withdrawal deadline.
Yes, that was
I
big.
That's absolutely huge for
Mm-hmm.
Alabama. Aiden Holloway coming back. Latrell Wrightsell, Houston Millette,
Coming off an
Jaleel Bethea. I
Achilles.
think, yeah, Jaleel Bethea is a guy I
We'll
think
see.
could
Like,
could pop.
he could be really good, but he was really bad in a really bad team. So like,
Yeah, this is one where I'm going better coach, better system. Talent
yeah,
obviously there was a top 10 recruit last season, so
yeah. I mean, he should be pretty good, but he was concerningly bad as a freshman. I'm not a big Noah Williamson guy, but I am kind of high on Aiden Sherrill, so maybe that balances out. Taylor Bull Bowen
yeah.
is kind of whatever in my opinion.
Yeah, Sherelle is the guy that needs to take the step up for this front court, I think. It'll be interesting to see Williamson in the SEC, another Patriot League Player of the Year mentioned here, but yeah, Bull Bowen,
Yeah.
Williamson, I'm just kind of we'll see what happens. I'll wait to hype and until I see anything hype worthy.
Yeah, I like Reitzel coming off an Achilles though. We will see. Yeah, just a lot of things that I don't really know if I like, but I do see the ceiling. I do see the ceiling. Bethea could be really good. Phylon could be like an all-American level. Sherelle could really break out. And there's definitely a path, but I'm just a little skeptical of some of the things they've done. Some of the pieces, um, as a whole. Still snuck them in my top 25, but not overly enthusiastic about them at the moment. We will see though.
Yeah, it's Nate Oates after all. I feel like at the very least the top 25 is what you
Y-
is where you can put that team, but
Probably. Let's see. Who do you have at 15 then?
15 I had Auburn, 16 Iowa
Okay.
State, 17 Gonzaga.
Okay. 15 for me. I have Tennessee. Not a roster I particularly like, but this is another one. Like Rick Barnes is gonna get them to play defense, and like he's at what is he at like four straight Ken Palm like top 10 finishes, or maybe it's been three in a row, but
Four straight, yeah.
yeah, four straight. Like they really just play defense. They have an elite point guard. Okpara will do his job. We'll see what Nate Ahmet comes out to be, but he's going to get them to play elite defense like they were 2 years ago. They had the best defense in the country. They were 64th offensively, like 2023 season, and they still ended up sixth in Ken Palm. Like they're just going to be phenomenal
Yeah,
defensively, high floor team. Definitely have lots of questions about this roster, but I mean, you probably have the best point guard in the conference, which is a good place, good thing to have when you do have some very notable question marks.
yeah, I see the defensive buy-in, obviously top five defensively, according to Ken Palm for each of the last 5 seasons, including that 2023 year where they were first. I've got Tennessee 21st.
Okay,
I
I'm
like
not in
it's
on their roster necessarily,
yeah,
but
the top note was basically a whole new team. It'll be interesting to see if Barnes can install the
like
Tennessee
like I have
identity.
no clue what they're
And
going to do at the two or the four.
yeah, I JP Estrella is a guy. He was hurt all last year.
Hmm.
I liked him in what would that have been 2023, 2024. So we'll see what happens there. Cade
Yes.
Phillips, Jalen Carey, the other guys fighting in that front court. But it does ultimately come down to how far Jacoby Gillespie and Rick Barnes can take this team.
Yeah. Not a huge fan of this roster, but again, elite point guard, elite defensive coach. They're going to be good enough. And yeah, number 16, number 17 is right, Illinois and St. John's.
Okay. 18 for me is San Diego State. So
Okay.
one under Gonzaga, the only two non-power conference teams I have in my top 25. I mean, there's a lot for me to like with the San Diego State roster. You
Yeah.
bring back Reese Waters from injury, and then
Yeah,
you've
that is
got
big.
a very good handful of returners led by Miles Bird, who was another late withdrawal from the NBA
Hmm.
draft. BJ Davis coming back, and then Farrell Compton, Magoon Guath inside. Two high ceiling guys. Miles Heide, Taj DeGorville off the bench. The transfers to me are somewhat interesting. I don't know how much I like Latrell Davis or Sean Newman Jr., but I think that the returning pieces are enough for me to buy in with
Yeah.
Brian Dutcher
I mean, I kind of
and
like
think
their
this team can run
transfers.
away in the Mountain West.
Potentially, probably, definitely, probably going to be my favorites to win the Mountain West. Did not quite put him in my rankings, but I could see where you do that. You really think Bird makes that next jump offensively. Should have enough in the backcourt to get it done. Guap takes another jump. Could definitely see them cracking the top 25, especially with Brian Dutcher. But we will see. A lot of jumps need to be had, and a lot of jumps probably should be had. But we will see what that looks like. For me, at number 18, I have Arizona. Um, Definitely another team with maybe some question marks, I guess, due to they have a fair amount of newcomers. But I mean, I think having a proven point guard in Jaden Bradley, um, proven bigs and Mo Krivas and Tobe Waka, and then I think Koa Pizza Guide's gonna be extremely impactful from day one as a freshman. Got some more interesting pieces, newcomers: Dwayne Aristode, Braden Burries, um, Ivan Karchenchov. My main concern about the team is shooting, I guess. I think Delorso and Aristode will have to get some pretty significant minutes to fill in that hole. But yeah, I mean, I think they have a pretty. I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, Krivas and Awaka inside. That's a very solid duo at
Yes,
any
I don't
level.
think they'll start together, but
Yeah, but the
they'll
either
switch
or
off. Yes.
between those two probably right at 20 minutes a game each.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jaden Bradley coming back. Obviously, I like Arizona. I had them 25 when I posted a few weeks back. I've moved them up to 20. Um, Karchenkov just kind of adding another key piece to the wings, and I think it takes a lot off of Burry's and Pete's shoulders in a
Yes.
sense. Because
Just don't
I
like that
wasn't
he's
I
not
wasn't
really a
too
shooter.
yeah.
I guess that's
I mean
kind of the common
that,
concern.
that's where I'm hoping I can get back on my Anthony Delorso hype
Yeah.
train. He somewhat did turn it on for Arizona. Maybe not what I really thought he was going to be after being a stud for Campbell 2 years ago. But I mean, if he can shoot 41% from three again and up the attempts per game to 5 or 6, then this team, I don't know, the ceiling's higher. Tommy Lloyd's done a obviously a good job at Arizona, but it'll be what Burries and Pete can provide, and you're leaning on two freshmen that are kind of outside that top tier heading in.
Yes. So we will see how that goes. Number 19, no, I have Will Wade and NC State.
That's where I've got Will Wade and the Wolfpack as well.
Let's go. Matched up there at number 19, first year in Raleigh for Will Wade, replacing Kevin Key's tenure. Definitely had some ups and downs, but it was luckily for them, they are done with him just a year after making the Final Four. But yeah, I mean, I think Will Wade has his team right back in contention. Got some elite transfer gets, most notably Darian Williams, Texas Tech, should be a preseason All American. I think Terrence Arsenault is going to be really impactful. I think he probably would have started had he came back to Houston. So those are two elite pieces there. Got some good surrounding guys. Trey Holloman, solid point guard. Thought they were going to get PJ
I,
Haggerty for a while, but
I think Holloman's a great Will Wade guy, though.
yeah,
Like fits the mold, and then I don't know. You can fill out the rest of the starting lineup. I won't cut you off much more, but
yeah. I mean,
I think Holloman will do what he needs to do with the
hmm
talent that fills it out.
yeah. I mean, I guess there's a few different ways they can go. Um, but I have Paul McNeil starting. I think we could see a big year too from him. Honestly, gonna need someone to shoot. I think either him. It'll probably be either him or Matthew Abel starting. know if I love Copeland starting next to just in that lineup, but
I, I mean, what about Alan Breed? Where are you factoring Breed into?
I think he'll be off the bench. I don't think he's that good. I mean, he wasn't that good at
I'm
Providence.
yeah. I mean, I'm bought in from the what was it, 2, 3 games
He played like yeah,
last
he
year
played
for
like
McNeese. I mean, like he he put up
two.
numbers. So
He played 2 games, and I guess one. I guess they were against good teams, but
yeah, I mean, I
we'll
so
see.
I do think you can go different ways there, but I think I'd lean Breed to start, but McNeil,
Yeah,
a guy you
Bree can't
mentioned,
shoot though.
yeah, I mean that does kind of poke a hole there next to Arsenal Williams Holloman, but I don't know. I'd be okay with Paul McNeil starting. I think he showed flashes as a freshman, and now you've got Will Wade instead of Kevin Keats. So
Yeah, I think it'll honestly be either McNeil or Abel. Just guys that can really shoot. Should be in for big sophomore jump from McNeil or a really impactful freshman season from Matt Abel. Then the five spot you got in-state transfer Van Allen Lubin. Had a very good end to the year for North Carolina. Was playing really good after not being that great to start, but really turned it on. Should be solid. They also got Paul Mbaya, really should be really physical, rim protecting big. Little bit raw in terms of some skill, but his physical presence should be felt.
yeah, the shooting's the one spot I think you can be rightfully skeptical of here. But I mean, all around one through nine, I'm overall pretty confident in what this team can have. And then you've got Colt Langdon, Jerry Deng, guys that could fill in spot minutes due to injuries and stuff.
Yeah,
Like I think
we'll
it's
see.
overall deep enough.
Hmm. For sure. For sure. Definitely got some interesting pieces down there with those guys. Because it could make an impact depending on how it all turns out. But yeah. Will Wade essentially flipped the roster. Just kept McNeil around. And yeah, brought a few of his big knees guys, but overall it's a roster that is built to compete right away. Um can't really knock it too much. And yeah, ACC should be a little bit improved this year, in my opinion. So
Yeah, and
see if
I think they're the clear cut number 3 in the ACC, even with an overall jump.
I mean we'll see because at number 20, that's where I have Virginia.
Okay, I Virginia was my first team out of my just missed cut line. So team
Okay.
31, give or
I mean,
take. But
I'm really in on this team. Um, Malik Thomas somehow got an extra year. I don't know what he did to the NCAA to get it, but he's an elite big time scorer. I think Johan Grunlow is going to be a very good international. One of, if not the best internet, maybe not the best international coming over, but very impactful. It sounds very likely that they're also going to get TJ Ritter. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it should be official. Didn't really factor him in, I guess, because I really like Devin Tillis too. But I mean, Jakari White's a guy that can really score the ball, can really shoot the ball. I think Dallin Hall is a perfectly fine, serviceable point guard. Like I think Ryan Odom has really built a good roster to compete right away. You got Sam Lewis off the bench too. A lot of offensive firepower, some really intriguing internationals. Like I'm majorly in on this team.
yeah, I guess I'll go back over these next few months before the season starts and kind of take a deeper look at the international guys and
Hmm.
see where you're coming from there with DeRitter
Yeah,
and
I
especially
have
Grunlow.
definitely
But
not done my full due diligence with a lot of these guys, but a lot of them has just been trusting other people's opinion that I trust on some of those guys, and those two are definitely well regarded within the community. So,
Yeah, I do think that's fair. Tillis, you mentioned a guy I like played on a winning UC Irvine team. Malik Thomas, obviously Jakari White, two scores in the backcourt. I think they fill in well next to Dallin Hall. So year
hmm
one under Ryan Odom, I think it'll be an overall success. Get Virginia back in the tournament and be one of the faces of the ACC again.
yeah, we finally got Ugano Onyenso playing like his right role too as a backup big.
Yep, 100%.
Let's see, who'd you have at 20 down?
20 Arizona, 21 Tennessee.
Okay, 21 is where I have Arkansas. Um, definitely some question marks, but I think with um Carter Knox breakout is pretty imminent. I think Darius Akeff is going to be a pretty impactful freshman. Malik Ewan is pretty impactful. I mean, I'm not crazy high in this team. Definitely seen some people higher, but I think the pieces are there. We'll see how John Calipari does in year two. I'm never gonna be a DJ Wagner guy unless he gets good. But I don't know. I feel like I've been not been a DJ
Yeah.
Wagner guy through his college career so far. Not particularly above average at really anything, but he also could be fine. Like I could definitely see a maybe see a breakout year from him, but I mean
Yeah, I
I
was
think their
hoping to
front
see a
court should be
pop with
pretty good.
yeah, I was hoping to see a pop with Wagner last year.
We'll see if
Just
Brazil breaks out too.
same coach, New
If he
Jersey for
does.
Wagner. Acuff, you mentioned, should be another dynamic piece in the backcourt. I like Knox and Richmond on the wings.
hmm
If one or both take a massive step, I think they'll both take a big step for this team. And then the front court, Malik Ewan coming over from Florida State, Nick Pringle from
Very
South
impact. I mean,
Carolina.
he was great.
Yeah.
Um,
You've got seven guys that'll impact, and then it's where do these other freshmen come into play? How deep can Calipari go? Because that kind of proved to be
yeah, I don't think any of their
a
internationals are
struggle
good.
point last year.
Um,
I've seen the opposite of praise for the last few coming across. But
what's that guy's name? Dad, Elmir Jasavicic or something like that. Not very good, but yeah, I think their guys in the rotation are pretty solid. Definitely some breakout potential for those guys. And yeah, who do you have at
Arkansas had
22?
Arkansas had 23, by the way, and then 22 is Kansas. Finally taking a step back from the spotlight of the
I did not have
offseason
them in my
after back-to-back
rankings.
years.
Did not have them in my
And
rankings. Just out,
I'll
but
say I can definitely see the the no hype on Kansas there, I guess. I'm in on Darren Peterson,
oh,
and
he's amazing. He's
you kind of
amazing.
have to be
But like,
if you
who
want to put
else?
this
I
team
mean,
top 25.
I guess like you can be in on Flurry, but doing it, but, like he just like makes stuff happen. Kind of just like flies around and gets rebounds, dunks. I don't know
I
though.
I think it's almost freeing in a sense for Bill Self. I mean, last year he had Juwan Harris, Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams, like these three dudes he kind of has to play. They all can't shoot, and like nothing really works. Again, is there shooting on this roster? I guess maybe not. But Jaden Dawson, Melvin Council, Trey White coming in, I think just fresh faces. It's still Bill Self. I'm gonna trust him to stay inside the top
Are
25, but
we trusting that now?
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt at this point. I mean, still was able to slide into 24th at Ken Palm this past season. The low point 2024 was 27th, but I don't know. I'd rather put this team inside the top 25 than out if I had to choose one or the other, but
Yes, I guess had him just out. Really, really love Peterson. Not really sold on the rest of the team, especially not a huge Council guy. I guess we'll see if Marco Jackson does something coming off injury. Yeah, I don't know. We will see. We'll see if they add any internationals too, because I know they've been in talks allegedly with a bunch, but have not received any commitments
yeah,
from
it's
any of
been
those guys yet.
plenty of swings and misses for Self this offseason. I will say that. So
Yes. Number 22 though is where I have Oregon. Definitely a roster with fair amount of question marks, but I think just having that Shellstad Biddle combo is pretty elite, and KJ Evans should maybe he breaks out, maybe he doesn't, but at the very least, I think he's pretty impactful all around the court. Um, as long as he can be a winning player, but yeah, definitely not sold in a lot of their other guys, but if those two can stay healthy, which we'll see, it's Oregon, so probably not, but I think they should be pretty decently positioned.
yeah, I've got Oregon on the outside looking in, but I see where you're going. Shelsted, Biddle, Evans coming back, but as you said, I'm completely unsure of everything else on the roster, if that's fair to say.
Yes, I mean they got the better of the Simpkins brothers with TK
Yeah,
Simpkins, but we'll see.
16 a game last year at Elon, and then Des Lindsay, I believe, redshirted last year, was one of
Yes.
the top
Um,
JUCO guys. So we'll see what his impact looks like in the
yeah,
backcourt on the wing. But
Sean Stewart off the bench. Don't love any of their other guys really, but we will see. Got one of the better duos in the country for sure. Um, let's see. And who do you have? Or let's see. You had Kansas 22.
Kansas
Or
22, Arkansas 23.
okay, and I had Creighton at 23. Definitely a team with lots of questions to be had about the defense, but I think the offense should be pretty good. So,
Yeah,
um,
that was my holding back point on Creighton was the defense after losing Kalkbrenner, the man in the middle, the 4 or 5 time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. But
yes, definitely probably Owen Freeman's not going to be Ryan Kalkbrenner, but I think he should project to be pretty good on defense. Pretty solid rim protector, while Iowa good rebounder as well. So we will see. We will see how he makes that jump. I think him and Josh Dix, both coming over from Iowa, are going to be elite offensively. Jackson McAndrew's probably going to take a decent sophomore jump too. So gotta like the pieces they have offensively at the very least.
yeah, Dixon Freeman should be pretty fun. Nick Graves is a guy I like at Charlotte. Wasn't
Yeah.
really on a winning team last year, but overall liked what I saw from him. They were in the Diamond Head Classic over Christmas break, so just got a
Yes,
chance
he had
to
some very good games
sit on
there.
my couch all day and watch Charlotte basketball. But yeah, Graves impressed. So I think that makes for a fun backcourt next to Josh Dix, two guys that can score and create. So
Yes. Then let's see. Who do you have at 24 then?
yeah, so I'd Crane 25. So the last team I'll reveal, I guess, is Texas at 24.
Okay.
Sean Miller coming in place of Rodney Terry. Got a couple guys to stick around, Jordan Pope and Tremont Mark, two scoring guards, and then Kendall Weaver, a guy who was the glue that held the team together last season, helped them slide into the tournament. Obviously, Trey Johnson as well, the freshman turned likely top 5 pick in the NBA draft this season. But I really like Weaver, Mark, and Pope all coming back,
Yeah.
um, as well as Dalen Swain, a guy who will be
I'm pretty big on
consistent with Sean
Swain.
Miller,
I think
following
he'll
him
probably
from
be
Xavier,
the best player.
and then Sim Wilcher from St. John's should be another
Mm. He's
Another
okay.
solid piece. Not sure he needs to do too much again with those three guards coming back.
Yeah.
Vokatitis from FAU, a guy that's got a bit of praise. We'll see what he can do in the
Good freshman
SEC.
season for sure. And obviously you got let's see in Traore there as well. A guy that Sean Miller really liked, then got hurt at Xavier last year, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think there's enough at the different spots on the floor with
Mm-hmm.
Traore inside, and then on the wing, any combination of Mark Swain, Camden Heide from Purdue, and Sim Wilcher as well.
Yes. The Milots team also takes us to the state of Texas, but up to Waco, where I have Baylor at 24. I mean, they have Scott Drew and they have Ron Sanchez as an assistant. Should definitely help their defense that has been admittedly pretty rough in recent years. Definitely a lot of new players, but after last year, even though they weren't a bad team, I think starting fresh isn't a bad option. Obi Agwam, a guy who I really liked at Wyoming, really had a big year coming up from D2. Um, Michael Ratai, guy who really broke out at Oregon State, showed the ability to really be that number one guy there. They have some solid big men who will do big men things, and Joslin Bodo, Caden Powell, Dan Skillings is a wild card, but has showed some real upside. You got star freshman Tunde Yusofu. So yeah, I think there's honestly a lot to like about this team for me.
Yeah, I think it's a solid 1 through 9. The question is there going to be that guy that kind of breaks out and becomes their number one? Ratai, Agbeam.
I mean, they have like
Um,
four different guys who could do that.
yeah, and I think it's a matter of which one does, or if somebody can really take those reins in the Big 12. Um, I have Baylor 27th, like just outside my
Okay.
top 25. So I see it. I've seen some people a bit lower on the Baylor team. I do think it all comes together pretty nicely, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully Scott Drew can get things rolling once again defensively, as you mentioned.
Yes. I mean, Ron Sanchez, Virginia system. That's probably who you want coaching the defense. I mean, Drew's elite on offense, as we know. Um, but yeah, I think that wraps up. Alabama at 25 is what I had. So yeah, I had Iowa, Indiana, Kansas just outside. Um, Providence is a team I like. I had just outside. Maybe you could throw in USC, Texas. I had in consideration. St. Mary's just because they're gonna do St. Mary's things. Oklahoma, I kind of like a little bit more than consensus. You could
Yeah,
say,
I
yeah.
Baylor and Virginia, two teams we talked about already. I had just outside. Missouri is a team I think could be in the
I
hunt
don't hate
there,
it.
and then there's that giant handful of Big Ten teams that
Yeah.
one of them, two, three of them will probably break through, but I'm not sure which ones it'll be. Indiana,
Yes.
Wisconsin, Michigan State, Iowa,
Hmm.
Washington, and then Oregon that you had in your side inside your top 25 as
Yes.
well. So
After the first few teams in the conference, it's just a mess of teams who could be anywhere in the conference standings, anywhere in the national standings. Don't really know what I'm gonna do with that conference, but yeah. Anything else you want to touch on our top 25 pod for first pod in a minute?
I mean, I think just kind of going back to that overall premise of the fact that it's so open at the top and all throughout. Like it just seems like a very good year of college basketball is upon us with the level
Hmm.
just even across the playing field. I feel like for most of these teams, even with these worries of NIL and house settlement and whatnot, I think it's gearing up to see a handful of teams really have a true shot at competing for the national title.
Yes, no more of the fifth years, no more COVID years at least, but we do have the international imports being at an all-time high. A lot of interesting storylines shaping up for sure. Yeah, I think there's a lot of teams that could be really competitive this year. Let's see. How many days are we out? Like 150, something like that, a little bit under. I don't know if you've been
Um,
starting to count down. I haven't
I've
even.
got give or take 140 days from June 15th,
That's it.
the day of recording right now. So
It's still a while, but eh.
it'll go quick. It'll go
We're,
quick.
we're we're
I
kind of
hope.
in
I
that
hope.
dead part of off season where there's not a lot. Got the FIBA U19 World Cup coming out in a few weeks. Really, always like to watch that.
But
It'll
yeah, I
it'll
mean,
the season will sneak up. College football kind of pop in scrimmages, exhibitions, tours. Gonna get some
and
practice notes.
yep, and plenty of preview content from Hoop Scoop Media.
Absolutely, absolutely. Planning on doing coaching grids podcast as we have done in previous years. Very very shortly, I would expect out sometime within the next few weeks. But yeah, appreciate everyone for watching. No, it's been a while since we've got the podcast going on the platforms and stuff, but yeah, so still make sure to subscribe. Subscribe just if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're not, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Hoop Scoop Media. Follow us on the podcast platforms. Follow us on the social media platforms at Hoop Scoop Media, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure to give Luke a follow at College Hoops Outlet on Instagram, at CHO Talk Sports on Twitter. A lot of content that he puts out himself on those places. So yeah, 140-ish days or whatever, but make sure to stick with us, and we promise to start pumping out content because the people want it. And yeah, got to make sure there's I don't know there's got to make sure some ball knowers are
Yeah,
in business.
we need ball knowers on these platforms. We need you guys
Yes,
to learn from
yes,
the best.
yes. Definitely not gonna name any names, but definitely some subpar college basketball content create, especially college basketball TikTok. That wasn't really what I was talking about, but like there's some bad things out there. So maybe we need
Yeah,
to finally like get
that's a
that
story for
platform
another
going.
day. I mean
Anyway,
that's a video in itself.
yeah, that's don't yeah, that's a bad place. But yeah, make sure to subscribe, keep up to date, and stay tuned for some more content coming very, very soon.